What's going on, you guys? Slim here with a new video today, and today, you guys, I'm here to talk about why Dragon Link just keeps winning every major event that's been going on lately, and why it is without a doubt the best deck of the format, and how the different variations of the deck have come to kind of just warp the meta, and what you can do, of course, to stop the deck so that if you come up against it, you guys will be successful. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You'll also be notified when I stream over on Twitch. The links are in the description. While you're down there, consider joining my Discord community. If you want to purchase any of the cards that I talk about, of course, for Dragon Link or just cards in general, please use my TCG player link as well as my Gem Accessories affiliate link, as both of those websites, if you spend money there, a portion of what you spend will go back to the channel. It'll help me out, and I really do appreciate it. And last but not least, if you further want to support me in the channel, consider becoming one of my Patreons or becoming a channel member by clicking the join button. With all that out of the way, you guys, what I decided to do for today is I want to go over the evolution of Dragon Link, basically the different variants we've seen from multiple top players, and what to expect if you yourself are playing in any of these like extravaganzas, any of these remote duels, any of these major events, and just talk about the different lists we've seen. I'm highlighting 4 main players and their lists, and I'm starting with Christian Urena's PK version of the deck that him and Xu Ping put together. This is where I wanted to start because this was the first variant of the deck that we really saw kind of come out of nowhere and just warp the event. Christian went undefeated playing this build at a cash, it was like a big cash regional tournament, and he got first place. He went undefeated, and this was a very interesting route because a lot of players had not seen a version of Dragon Link that actually played the Phantom Knight cards. It incorporates the 1 copy of Boots and then 2 copies of Fogblade, and if you notice, this is very different from what the standard Dragon Link list looks like now. Now they're playing like the Tidyings, they're playing the Chamber Dragon Maid, all that stuff, but he played a different variant. Him and Xu Ping went back to kind of like Xu Ping's original idea with the higher rocket count, and this made it to where the deck just had a lot more explosive plays. It was able to end on boards of, if you look in the extra deck, he's actually playing the Unchained Abomination, so you would end on this, you would end on Seal, you would end on Savage, and you would have the pops, and you'd be able to do like the Silver Rocket plays and stuff, where you'd be able to rip your opponent's extra deck and do stuff like that. And if you notice, he's also incorporating Droplet and Dark Ruler No More, like literally going second, you can break any board, and that's why this deck is so strong, is that not only can it go first and build a really impressive board, but it can go second and break pretty much every board in the format. And I think what was really interesting about this is that several players did try this out. I know Cody Angelov tried this. I know Elise tried this. I know a lot of really just respected players did try out this build and had a lot of success with it, like on the local level, playing in the remote duel invitationals and stuff like that. And I really think this was a really cool version of the deck. I know that, again, the deck has changed, but I wanted to highlight this one to start because this really did kind of come out of nowhere, a different variant, a version that you can play that is not heavily reliant on, you know, like the Chamber Dragon Maids and stuff like that, but can play the deck in a different fashion. I think it's really, really cool. A lot of cool things you can do with it. The extra deck, of course, changes a little bit. You know, you have access to Access Code Talker, Beat Cop when you're under the dark restrictions, stuff like that. And then, of course, playing Rusty Bardiche in order to search out your Fogblade is very cool. Just another form of interruption that I think a lot of players forgot about. They don't respect it. And then, of course, you just catch them off guard with that. So I thought this was really cool. And as you guys can see, this deck is very consistent and very strong at what it does. And the boards it puts out are really, really crazy. And I think we're going to continue to see more players trying this deck going forward, even though more players have adapted and gone towards the other versions of the deck that I'm going to share with you guys today. I think the deck definitely still deserves its respect, and don't be surprised if you actually see this build in any of your locals or any of the events you play in. But I wanted to start with that list. And next, I actually wanted to talk about Sebastian Todd, because he did something that is pretty crazy. I was talking to my friend about this earlier. Not only did he win LCS number 12, he then went on to play in the PPG Regional a couple days ago with the card for card same exact list. When I was doing my research, I was like, wait a minute, not a single card has changed. He played this exact same list, main side and extra, and he won the PPG Regional as well as winning the LCS. Like, the man is on fire, and this list is very consistent, very strong, and I really, really like this approach. Even though I'm not a Dragon Link player, if there was a build of the deck I would play, it's probably this one. I think I love the fact that it was a very concise 40 card list. It did incorporate hand traps in the form of Phantasme and Ash because they are pretty generic. Phantasme is great in this deck because it has synergy with, of course, the Chaos Space. It has synergy with Brotar being able to search it, and it's just very good in the mirror match. Like, you see, you account for the mirror match since it's starting to become the most represented deck of the format. That's why it's arguably the best deck of the format, is that it's represented by all the top players, and they're just playing different variants, different twists on it, and I really, really like it. He's also playing the one of Black Metal as well as the one Chamber Dragon Maid in order to search the Tidying. This just is a really good interruption that you could put up on your board, you know, ending on your Seal, your Savage, plus this. Hot red, depending on how your board ends. I know he plays Appaloosa, which was something not all players do, but this card is great for the interruption. And I think this deck is like become like the forefront of what players are doing. Again, he went undefeated into at the regional, and then also winning LCS 12 with this is crazy, and this has really just set kind of the blueprint for what Dragon Link has become. And of course, you can account for the deck. You guys are wondering, okay, well, how do I stop the deck? Cards like Droll and Logbird, cards like Nibiru, cards like Phantasma to get there. People always ask me, how do you beat the deck? Look at the side decks of the players that are piloting the best deck, and that's actually where you get your answer. It's a very interesting concept that was introduced to me a while ago. Is I asked the same question, and they told me, look at the side decks of the players that are winning events. They were prepared for the best deck. They were prepared for the mirror match. They themselves are playing the best deck. Look at their main deck, look at their side deck, and you can kind of pinpoint those things. Of course, I see Phantasme. Of course, I see Nibiru. Of course, I see Droll. I know those cards are really good for the mirror match, so that's some of the best ways you can stop the deck. Now, while this is the best deck of the format, it's definitely not unbeatable, but the deck is so consistent and the deck is so powerful at what it does. It also plays just really, really good spell cards. Playing Dark Ruler No More is amazing because not only is it great for the mirror match, but you can use it against pretty much anything. Like, say if you come up against Dragoon, say you come up against stuff you can't really out, Dark Ruler literally takes care of that for you, and I think it's fantastic. So again, Sebastian Todd winning 2 events like pretty much back to back with the same exact list is just crazy, and I just really wanted to highlight that because I thought that he took a very concise approach to it, and I really like what this list has done, not only for his success but just for Dragon Link in general. So I wanted to highlight it as kind of the pinnacle of what Dragon Link is right now and what you should expect to see at any events you play in going forward. If you're playing in the LCS, the 3v3 that's coming up in a couple of weeks, if you're playing in any more extravaganzas, invitationals, locals, etc., this is probably going to be one of the more generic lists that you see, and I really, really like it. And I'm just excited to see if he does any more with it, because honestly this deck is just insane, and I mean, he's had so much success with it. We can definitely expect more going forward. Next, of course, I had to talk about Asala. I originally was going to make a profile on this. It got too late that I just felt, I'm going to include this in this video when I talk about, why Dragon Link is really the best deck of the format and all the variants that we've seen. Now, you guys are wondering, Slim, what's the big deal like with these lists? There's a lot of changes. Like, you need to see the little pieces here and there that change with the list, whereas Sebastian only played 1 copy of Chamber Dragon Maid, Asala's playing 3, where Alyssa are playing 1 Noct Division, he's playing 3, where he's playing the much smaller, more concise Rocket Engine, he's playing the Dark Rulers, of course, still in the main deck. That's become pretty much like a staple. His only hand trap of choice is the Phantasme, and the Phantasme is great because the Phantasme works against multiple matchups. You can drop this against Prank Kids. You can drop this even against the Invoke decks if they go into All Mirage, or if they go into the other link, the Light Link. If they go into that, there's applications for this card in pretty much every matchup outside of like trap decks, but it's still cool to have it here. And of course, it works for Chaos Space and is searchable. Again, he has the smaller Rocket Engine, but the deck is still a concise 40. He's got the tidying as well with 3 Chamber Dragon Maids, just extra extenders. And the main thing I wanted to highlight from Asala's list, and this is something that he talked about with Tom Box on the video he did with him, is that Alpha the Master of Beast has really blown up to be one of the best side deck cards going in against this deck. It answers the Dragon Link board quite nicely. You guys were wondering again, Slim, how do I beat Dragon Link? Look at the Dragon Link players' side decks. This was one of the main cards that stood out to me. This card is amazing. It literally can trade with the Hieratic Seal Bounce, then you can resummon it. It can trade with one of the other monsters. It's just fantastic. I think this card is great against the deck, and I really hope you guys pick this card up because I think this is going to be an awesome side deck card going forward for the Dragon Link matchup, and it's a card that none of us really thought of, so it really took the brains of the Dragon Link players to bring it to the forefront, and I think the card is amazing. Another thing you'll notice, he's playing Scarlight. Scarlight is just another card that can help you just win games. You could literally steal games with this card. This is like another level 8 synchro that you can just bust out and literally just blow up your opponent's board and win because of that. Like, I think this card is great. Not only that, it's basically you could either play Appaloosa. Like, you had 14 extra deck spots. This was the 15th spot. It became kind of like the flex spot. And again, you could play Appaloosa. You could play this. I just think it's good to have the variety. It's good to know what the variety is in this format. So that's why I wanted to highlight it. So yeah, I wanted to say congratulations to Asala, of course, because he did win the remote duel invitational with this and became the king of games for this, so that's awesome for him. And I just wanted to highlight his deck because I think it was very well built. He piloted it very well, and he's setting a lot of trends with the Alpha Master Beast, the Scarlight, and stuff you're definitely going to see going forward. So don't be surprised when cards like this get dropped on you, whether you're playing this deck or if you're playing against this deck. And last but not least, I wanted to just talk about the most recent Dragon Link list that just won not only the Giant card but also won the last remote duel extravaganza, and that's William Candina's Dragon Link list. Now, this list pretty similar to Asala's, a couple changes. Ash is the only hand trap. It's the most generic. Only 2 Chamber Maids. Talents in the main deck. Now you guys are wondering, these little things, do they matter? Yes, they actually do matter a lot. Like, these little interchanges matter a lot. If you notice, Dark Ruler was in all the decks. That's just become like a standard thing. I think Talents is amazing because this card can literally just be the be-all, end-all. Opponent activates a hand trap, you Talents them, look at their hand, rip another hand trap, rip an answer. They can't play against your board. You can keep playing. That's the beauty of Dragon Link. The reason why it's the best deck is it can play through so many hand traps. So I think the card is amazing. Again, in the side deck, you see Alpha. If you watch the interview he did with Bortle, he talks about how good this card is, and it's just what I mentioned. It trades with the Dragon Link board very well, so I think this card is great. And just little standard things like that. And the extra deck is basically the same extra deck as Sebastian, so I don't really have too much to say about that. But he won not only the Giant card going 6-0, he then won and went 8-0 with his deck at the Extravaganza. So he went 14-0 with this deck. Like, this deck is crazy. And this was kind of the point of the whole video, is I wanted to highlight that if you guys have learned anything in this video, it's that yes, Dragon Link is the best deck of the format. Yes, it is probably the most represented, and yes, it is very powerful and very good at what it does. And I know a lot of people are quick to complain, but remember that even though this deck is the best deck of the format, it is not unbeatable. And you guys are wondering again, how do I beat this deck? Look at the side decks of all these decks I've presented today. Those are your answers, you guys. If you're playing this deck, you already know what to do. If you're playing against this deck, hopefully now you're a little more educated on what to do against this deck and what to expect if you play in any of the Premier Online events as well as locals in general. But that's everything for today, you guys. Again, I want to shout out all the people that I talked about: Sebastian Todd, William Candina, Asala, and of course Gunther, for all their lists. I just wanted to profile all of them in a quick video and just kind of tell you guys, you know, yes, Dragon Link is the best deck of the format. This is why it's the best deck of the format. This is what you can expect from the deck, and I've taught you guys the way as how to beat it because the information is given there for you if you pay attention to it, and I think that everyone can learn a lot from this. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future, talking about variations of different decks that we see. I love Shaddoll Invoke. That's another one of my favorite decks. I'd love to talk about that deck. If you guys like it, again, smash that like button. The more likes, the better. The more I'll know that you guys want to see videos like this. I just like doing these videos with the data in front of me because it really just does teach me a lot. It helps me teach you, and I think we all learn and become better players in the process. But that's everything for today, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.